Hello, how are you? Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Jeff Smith, the Frugal Gourmet, and today I want to talk to you about salt and animal fat consumption in America. Why would I bore you with such a thing? No, I'm not a health food fanatic, not at all. I'm not even a vegetarian. But a few months ago, I underwent open heart surgery at the hands of a very brilliant physician in Seattle, a fellow by the name of Dr. Lester Savage, and he told me that if I did not have this new valve put in my heart, I would be dead within a month. Now that's a pretty impressive bit of information. I remember how exciting it was to wake up after the surgery and know that your heart has been repaired and that you're going to hold on. They wheeled me back to my own room after being in intensive care for a few days, and then they brought me my first meal. Please understand that this doctor had saved my life, and then 4 dietitians tried to kill me. I swear to you that I've never eaten anything so pale, so boring in my life. What was the issue? Well, they were very concerned about keeping my heart healthy from then on, and they wanted me to cut down on salt and fat. Now, my problem with the heart valve did not come about because of bad diet. You could accuse me of a lot of sins, but not bad diet. In any case, my valve blew out when I was a child in the midst of rheumatic fever. So the doctor repaired this heart. And then I began to realize how difficult it is for people who are on low-salt, low-fat diets to enjoy themselves. Because they ask us to go cold turkey. They take away pork fat. Oh, I can't deal without pork fat. They take away salt. You know, I love it. I'm one of those. But I have some solutions for you today. And I want to talk with you, first of all, about what salt does to your system. Because I don't suppose most of us know. Your blood system is primarily a salt water solution, simply flowing through tubing, you see? And it's carrying in the solution of salt water little platelets. You remember, white ones and red ones, right? Little blood platelets. Now, when you ingest too much salt into your system, the salt goes into your blood system, thus increasing the salt content or the saline content. When the saline content in your blood system is too high, your body automatically begins pumping in more water to your blood system to dilute the salt, which means, you see, that you have too much fluid in your blood system, and the pressure becomes unbearable. It's like picking up a garden hose and bending over the end of the garden hose when the pressure's on full bore. That's what we're doing to our system. And eventually, it simply wears out your heart. Your heart cannot take it. That's what salt does. Fat, on the other hand, animal fat, you see, will build up in the inside of the blood vessels, and we complicate the problem by diminishing the inside diameter of the blood vessel when we're pumping salt in, thus increasing the pressure. And salt also causes the blood vessels to constrict. So you see what we're doing? We're in real trouble, gang. And I don't want to give up a thing, at least not joy. So today, let's have some solutions. First thing I want to show you is how you can get rid of the fat on a chicken. And remember now, all fats react the same way in your body. Everything can be converted into cholesterol. But if you will take the fat off of a chicken, you see, you're in great shape because the fat is on the outside of a chicken. On beef, it's a little bit harder to control because it's usually marbled. But on a chicken, this is a snap. Look at him. It's just tons of fat. So let's get rid of it right away. Do you know what I did when I came home from the hospital? I did this with a chicken and saved all the fat. And then I promptly realized that I could save the fat and make matzo ball soup and nothing flat, you see. Make matzo balls and eat all the fat up. It's hard to get rid of that. Now, let's cut the chicken. You see what I'm doing? Taking out the fat. Let's cut the chicken completely down the breastbone. Completely, you see what I've done? You know that's what they did with me in surgery? Should I tell you that? That's what happens. And then they repair you and sew you back up. With metal staples, by the way. Are you enjoying this conversation today? I'm very happy with it. And it's no longer even bothersome. Now, turn the bird over and let's remove the wings. We're trying to skin a chicken in a hurry, right? All right, get rid of the wing here. We'll save those for soup stock or something. And here you see you have a flat open bird. I'm trying to break the backbone a little bit so he'll hold on. Let's get him, take off the skin here. Just grab a hold of the skin underneath the skin and just begin pulling. So there's nothing to this. Once you catch onto it and you really, oops, that's a tough corner there. This was not a pre-skinned bird, as you can see. So we'll just rip him up here and just take all of his clothes off. And it'll work. And all, with it, you see, comes all the fat. Look at the fat. You see what's happening? Finally, look at this. He looks like a rabbit now. And don't forget his pantaloons. Here we are. Come on, pantaloons. I'm making a lot more noise than I should. I don't want you to think this is difficult. you can do this with very little strength. Otherwise, have one of your kids do it. He'd think it's a riot. All right, now the skin, you see, I'm going to save, and we're going to put the skin in a soup pot later on because we can skim the soup easily by refrigerating it and taking off the fat. We'll have all the flavor we want. That's what we need to do. There it is. One bird without any fat, you see? He looks good. Well, with very little fat. I shouldn't say without any. Now, what else can we do in order to eliminate fat and salt? Please understand that the best gimmicks you can possibly use are white wine, to flavor, you see, without salt, white wine, beloved garlic, blessed garlic, lemon juice, and all kinds of herbs. That is what you need. These 4 items will simply save you from boredom. And that's what happens to most heart patients. You know, we become terribly bored with food, so you stop eating properly. That's what we do with the elderly in our culture. We put them in institutions where the food is so utterly boring that they die of starvation. It's not fair. It's not fair. There's no reason why you can't have herbs, lemon, garlic, and a shot of white wine in your cooking. It's a good way to enjoy yourself. So let me show you a quick dish that would use those items. And this dish is a dish made of apricot glazed chicken thighs. I've already taken the skin off some of my chicken thighs. I'm going to do a couple more here for you. You see how complicated this is? Got that? Nothing to it. Just pick up the old thigh, pull off the skin, and put him on the platter. We're all ready to go. Now, for our sauce, a glaze that we're going to use, we have 2 portions of this, 2 parts to this recipe. One, put your chicken in a bowl and add a shot of white wine, because white wine will react chemically in your system in terms of flavor, very much as salt will. White wine chemically will excite your tongue, so for heaven's sakes, use it. And don't worry about a little alcohol in your food. It doesn't matter because the alcohol cooks out when you're cooking anyhow. So if you don't like alcohol in your system, why, you're not going to get any just by using wine. I promise. I promise. Okay, I don't care what conservative Christian told you that wine is bad for your system, but this Christian isn't going to tell you that at all. I promise you. Good for you. There, I have a little bit of garlic and white wine. We're going to marinate the chicken for just a moment in this, 15 minutes or so, in this mixture. And in the meantime, we're going to blend some herbs with some apricots. I have a can of apricots, 12-ounce can. Got that? 12-ounce can of apricots. In it goes to my blender. Try and keep the apricots in the neighborhood. There we go. And I'm going to add some tarragon and some dill. First of all, a shot of dill, about half a teaspoon of dill weed and a half a teaspoon of tarragon. It sounds like a strange mixture to you, doesn't it? Wine, garlic as a marinade, then some tarragon and dill in 12 ounces of drained apricots. No pits, please. And let's grind this up now. This thing has so many gadgets on it, I'm not sure whether it's in wash, rinse, or for dainty things. Just a minute. There we go. This one will do it. Now we're ready. Okay. And I'm simply going to paint, if I can find a brush here. Here we are. I'm going to paint on my marinated chicken thighs. No fat, no salt, just flavor and joy. And that's what you want. I'm going to paint that glaze right on the old chicken here. Put it on rather liberally, you see. This is just an awfully good dish. I really owe this kind of cooking to a dear friend in my hometown of Tacoma, Washington. Her name is Pearl Baskin. And Pearl's a marvelous cook and a very sensible woman and a dear, dear friend. And I bless her for all she's taught me through the years. There it is. Now we're going to put this in a 375-degree oven. She uses whole apricots, incidentally. She puts the dill and the tarragon right on the chicken and then puts whole apricots on the top. I like to grind it up and make a paste out of it. Let me show you what you get when you do this. Check the old oven here. Here we are. After about 45 minutes to an hour at 375, you will have a dish that you will not believe. And it is so flavorful that you can get by and be rather cocky in your attitude because, after all, you have eliminated some salt and some fat in your diet, and you need to do that. I'm going to set this aside so we can get going on some other dishes. There are lots of things I want to cook for you today. Secondly, let's try a different kind of thing with fish. And this time I want to poach the fish rather than frying it in oil, you see. And it's very simple to do. What you want to do is to get some chicken broth going in a large pan, you see. And that's all you need to do. Chicken broth will do the job. It's marvelous stuff. And I make my own, of course. Don't use an instant because it has too much salt in it. But where do we get the salt? Salt is in everything you buy in the market that comes in plastic, styrofoam, saran, can, jar, frozen food package. Salt and sugar go into everything you can imagine. And animal fat is very common in cake mixes. Things like that. You have to read the labels and you'll be shocked with what you're buying. And you really should avoid it. So I have some chicken broth, some good chicken broth simmering in a pan. I'm going to add a shot of white wine. Just a little bit of wine to flavor the broth. And I'm going to add a bit of lemon juice. Again, a nice flavor. I'm using my old favorite lemon reamer. Isn't that a joy? Look at it go. All right, and then we're going to add a bit of vinegar. In this case, I'm going to use some white wine vinegar in order to firm the fish. The vinegar will help keep the fish firm. You just need a couple of tablespoons. You don't want it to taste like vinegar. That's it. The broth is now ready. So let's cut up some fish. And I want to be sure and cover my board here with a bit of wax paper before I cut the fish, or we'll be in real trouble. Your board will begin to smell like an old fish factory, you know. This is a turbo. And we could use this or just about any kind of white fish you want for this dish. And we're going to poach him. And then in the meantime, I'm going to make some lovely sauces for you without any salt and very little fat. That's about what I want. Those are nice sized serving pieces. So let's set them in the old broth here. They'll take just a minute to cook. I shouldn't say that. They should take about 6 minutes. Not much more than that. I'm going to put one more in. I have room in the pan. You'll just have to be patient with me here. There we go. Ouch. Turn the old heat up. I'm going to cover that in order to conserve the heat. It will come to a boil much quicker. And I just want to simmer it. I don't want it to roll as a boil. You understand me? You don't want to ever boil a fish. Poaching means that he's kind of swimming around in there. He's barely moving the water. Boiling means he's in trouble. All right, and he'll come out, he'll break apart, and he'll be very tough. Now, let's make a sauce for this poached white fish. You can use any kind of white fish you like, flounder, sole, cod, anything you like. Cut it in thin slices and then poach it in just about 6 minutes in wine, chicken broth, a little bit of lemon juice, and a shot of vinegar to keep it firm. Now, here's a sauce you won't believe. Have you ever made a mock sour cream out of cottage cheese? It is so simple. Let me wash out my container here. This dish is so easy. What we're going to do is to use a low-salt, low-fat cottage cheese that you can find in any supermarket. And we're going to grind it up in our food processor, or in our osterizer. You can use a food processor too, I suppose, but that's awfully big. Just a household blender will do the job. So in we go with 1 pound of cottage cheese.